Hello, and how are you doing today? Today's guest is Rob LaLande of Battle Buddies K9. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
Oh, it's always a pleasure to talk to people that are supporting Operation Talk to Me, Johnny, and just kind of getting that safety net built bigger and bigger for those that have served and their family members, just to get the help that they deserve.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So just a little bit about you there. Tell me a little bit about your military service.
I joined in 1990 in Halifax, Nova Scotia, joining the Princess Patricia's Canadian Light Infantry. My first posting was actually an amazing place, Work Point Barracks, right on Vancouver Island. I got to spend 4 years there with the 3rd Battalion. After they started doing the 1090 thing there around 94, I ended up in the 1st Battalion in Calgary, and that's where I finished my career.
Nice. And what kind of things did your military career kind of teach you about yourself and kind of the skills that it prepared you for life?
I think resiliency, realizing that I can go through a lot of adverse events or horrible even events and be able to come out on the other side. Maybe not always 100% again, but at least knowing how to deal with it, live with it, and move forward.
Yeah. And I think there is that resiliency that comes from serving where you have it, but I think there's that loss when you get out and you become a civilian and, the networks kind of start drifting away. Other guys are still in battalion. Other guys go off and do stuff in their civvy life. And there is that little bit of, I feel, a loss for, and it's with all services, cops, firefighters, when people make something their life and really dedicate the time it takes to become proficient in it, a lot of other things get pushed to the wayside. And I don't know about you, but did you have any kind of problems transitioning from the military into civilian side?
I did. I went through a few jobs, few relationships, some anger issues, not understanding the civilian world, where within the military, we have so much structure and the way things are done. Then you move into a civilian type of situation and even your tolerance for, we'll say, what bullshit is quite low.
Yeah, and you got to learn how that night pan just can't come out anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah. And what was it that helped you be able to start bridging that gap and then finding a new purpose in life?
Well, for a short time, I got very sick. They put me on all the pills. They put all the boys on. I had Percocet pain, Oxycontin addiction from a brain injury. I'd gotten up to like 380 pounds, walking with a cane, hooked on all kinds of drugs. And then one day I just, from a simple fall, decided I got to change my life or I was going to die. So I made a lot of changes, lost all that weight, over 200 pounds, got in shape, got my life back. And then I decided I want to make a difference for other veterans, not let them go through either what I went through so now I don't only push a dog thing, I push a lot of health too to get the boys healthy again as well.
That's awesome. And you do find that extra energy once you find that new, because like you said, everything is very regimented. The training is already done way in advance by ops and stuff like that. And, you're just, okay, what am I showing up for? Whatever. Okay, cool. I'm, if you're a private, okay, what weapon am I doing? Okay, if you got a little bit of leadership stuff, then okay, what's my orders, stuff like that coming there. But it is very regimented what you're doing and kind of stuff. And then that little bit of, okay, there's not a sergeant major kind of keeping his, that fear of God in me. I still can't cut across grass really. Like it's a weird thing to do. And
it doesn't go away.
No, it doesn't. Where you're just like, wait,
yeah,
I can do this now. Like there's nobody here to be like Meaford, where you get the drive-by jackies where a sergeant major be yelling at troops as, he's riding whatever, because somebody cut the smallest of corners and stuff like that. You're just like, oh.
Well, yeah, I've been out for a very long time. And then 2 summers ago, where I have my summer spot, a new guy comes in and he's RCR, he tells me. So we're golfing. I'm joking with him, doing the chicken thing, and I'm giving him a hard time. And I go, so wait, what did you do with the battalion? He goes, I'm still in. I go, oh, what do you do? He goes, I'm the RSM. And just for a millisecond, I was like, oh. right? So, and he turned out to be a great guy, of course.
Yeah, when an individual has that kind of power over your life when you're a young little troop, it morphs you. It's just that trauma thing that you'll never have it leave you.
Yep.
Yeah, no. Um, so what are some of the things in your service that, if you want to talk about stuff like that, were made it hard for your transition into civilian life, where you did feel that, let's say, a void, right? Where, with physical, mental, what was it? And then how did you find that power to get to that next step?
For me, the biggest thing I missed in having around me was the brotherhood. I lived in the shacks. You have that tight bond with your guys. You know they got your back. There's no worry about nothing. And for a long time, lost it, of course. When I got out, depression and, just didn't care, wanted to give up. And then I found the best thing for me wasn't talking to people, wasn't no medicine. It was helping other people. And that's where I get my, relief. That's what helps me the best is when I do some good, I help some other people, I feel better.
Yeah, and it sounds goofy when some of those old adages and stuff like that, but then when you get a little bit older, you start realizing, like, when you give out more than you want to take in, the universe, people, it gives good back to you, because people, we understand when somebody's doing something genuinely, and we understand when, okay, there's a string or two here, I don't quite see it yet, but there's something. But when people genuinely feel that you are helping them from the goodness of your heart, there's just this weird energy transfer that we don't always get, because we just live in a different kind of life now, where it's phones, or it's on the go, or it's very isolated. And that's the thing now too with society, is that, when I was younger, and you're a little bit older than me, but when you wanted to go out and have some kind of entertainment, it was going to an arcade. It was going somewhere where that was just the spot of the town where that age group hung out. And you learned how to interact, and you learned how to deal with your emotions and those things, because you were put in those situations where nowadays we're not in person, but
Right.
it's people that deal with this stuff where they don't get that in-person stuff. And then when something bad happens, they don't have that natural network of people they can depend on in person and get that difference than over a screen.
And that's only going to get worse as time goes on with all these young people and their screens and stuff. That's why as a father, I had rules. You weren't allowed having your phone at a dinner table. You weren't having so much of it. And now with the grandkids, same thing. I don't hand them a screen.
Yeah. Well, and it's important too. And I mean, there's certain studies now where some of the young kids now are barely literate because of the tablets and stuff. And one of the European countries was actually bringing back books, and no, you're going to physically turn the pages, and you're not going to zoom in or do this and that. And they're kind of seeing some of the studies where schools bringing in tablets and other things for learning was probably more of a hindrance than it was a help in the long term. Now, I think it was like a 20-year study kind of looking at the differences of the grades.
I just think they've taken being soft and easier on these kids too far now the other way. And you're making them stupid, and you're letting them, not be able to pass, read, write, learn, tell time on analog clock, be able to, can't read cursive.
Yeah. Well, and now they're bringing back cursive. Like, certain places are starting to see that we need hardship at young ages, and we need to have less of like the helicopter or the bulldozer parent types. And I mean, I remember like being young where you had to kind of problem solve a little bit more. And if you couldn't figure it out, then you went home and you went to a parent and you're like, okay, this was the situation. What do I do? And then you get something like that. But a lot of times you had to deal with it in the moment, because you were maybe at the mall or some other public place that you couldn't just quickly go run off. You were, okay, well, I'm here. Yes, I'm going to defend myself, or this is what, or defend somebody else if you see something happening, right? And Yeah, we've gotten very insular. And that's what I love about like Operation Talk to Me Johnny and so many of these other organizations that I've started kind of linking up with now doing these interviews for them. And yeah, it's just building these social networks and these social activities and these events where people come together and actually really meet people and build those bonds that are a lot stronger than if you just met somebody online. And yeah, maybe you were talking with them for years, but it's not the same as good one-on-one time with people and finding those people that also share a very similar trauma to what yours was.
Yes.
And you can try and find the mentor who has gone through that already and goes, okay, where are you at? Oh God, yeah, I remember that stage. Okay. Are you thinking this? Yeah, I knew it. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Okay. Don't. That leads to this, which leads to this, which is going to screw you over. This is what when I found my mentor taught me, and I'm gonna save you hardship. You get to skip that step. I'm gonna show you this shortcut here. And that is important when, especially with mental health, you have to have that trust with the person you're talking to really open up about whatever your traumas are and go, whether it's service related, whether it was just something that you saw, you were just walking down the street and you saw a horrible accident. You're like, okay, that is going to stick with me. That was horrific. We don't get to choose when these traumas happen. So I love what Operation Talk to Me Johnny is doing, where they're trying to get not just the service members and their family, but let's start getting the younger generations into it as well so that we can build these skills early. So when something does happen unexpectedly, because that's when trauma happens, nobody goes, oh yeah, my trauma's happening 2 weeks from Thursday. Yeah, I'm getting ready for it. I think it's going to be a hard one, right? Like you don't get that. So you need those skills early so that if you can't run to somebody right away, or you can't go to your parents, or there isn't somebody you can trust right away, you at least have the skills to go, okay, I'm in a problem. This was traumatic. Before spiraling out of control, I have these steps to at least help me not get too far. And then I can reach out, find that person, and then I can start getting those steps and the help I need. And it's nice now. I mean, the older generations, the grandparents' generation, it was my problems are nothing. Where's that bottle of whiskey? I'll sort it out. Or at least nowadays with the younger generation, they're seeing that mental health is important. And we got to start talking about it. We got to start setting up these things so when people slip and fall, they can get back up quicker than, 10 years of spiraling down the drain before they finally can get help and missing all that time of their lives.
Yeah, I mean, when I would have first got out back in the early 90s, the UN tours and things like that, there's virtually nothing once you came home. You just went right back to work and that was it. No type of anything to see if you're okay. And I don't want to see the young guys go through all that kind of stuff, right? We know better now. We know there's better ways to do things. We have the resources. We know what to do. Let's make sure these young guys aren't going through all that so we don't lose one more.
Exactly. And it's what I love about Canada, right? Where if there's something with the federal or provincial governments, whatever province it is, there's always going to be the veteran, the retired cop or firefighter or paramedic. They're going to see a gap within their little community. Something will start kicking off and it'll start expanding. And just like with Operation Talk to Me Johnny and so many other groups that have partnered with them, they started small with, hey, this is what we see as our problem. And now everyone's starting to expand to encompass everyone else going, what are you doing? Okay, cool. We don't cover that. Let's us start linking up together. So if we run into a person with that problem, we can send them to you and they can get the help.
Yep.
And it's that awesome networking that happens where we kind of look after our own and stuff like that. And,
well, if we don't, we know where VA can be at times for helping the guys and all that. So if we don't do it ourselves, and the networking thing with all the veterans groups, with networking with each other and working together, that's a really good thing. I've been able to make a lot of other connections. I've been able to help other organizations as well, right? With whatever they're doing. right? I would help anybody. It doesn't have to be what I'm doing or anything. Anybody needs help, talk to me, Johnny. Any of these groups that need help. If we all give an hour of our time, 20 minutes of your time, it can make a real difference.
It can. And all those 20 minutes add up to some real change for people that need that help, that served. And just because of service, something happened and they need that help. And sometimes the unfortunate problems with like Veterans Affairs is that it takes time for that to happen, right? You need the doctors, stuff like that. And for some people, their traumas are just too much for the bureaucracy and the red tape to eventually help them. And that's what's important about all these organizations is that they help fill in the cracks where they would normally fall through. And while waiting for the Veterans Affairs stuff to get processed, they can get that help and find that community again where, they might have get lost once they got out of battalion or, any of the Air Force or Navy things, whatever they do. Right. So it's just really important. And I love, we're going to start talking about dogs and stuff like that, but tell me about Battle Buddies Canine and how that started getting formed and what that has done.
Well, like I said, we've been able to purchase 5 PTSD service dogs for our veterans, help some other veterans get further training. And honestly, it started by accident because, it's something I always thought of was getting a dog for a veteran, a dog, right? Maybe I could help out somehow. So I had a veteran brother come visit me. He was telling me about this group trying to get a dog. I figured I could raise a couple grand for him, and I was just going to donate that. And then within 3 weeks, blew up to a great big event where I was staying with fireworks, band, car show, dunk tank, silent auction. And before I knew it, I had raised 20 grand in one single event. So we were able to purchase a dog completely. And then I figured if I can do this, I'm going to do it again. And I did it again and it worked again. And we've been going for 5 years now.
That is so cool. And what I love about some of these organizations and stuff is that they didn't start with these grand plans. It was a very simple idea, either get a message out or help an individual. And from that, it just kind of spirals into, well, we've helped multiple people and we've expanded to this and we're starting to do that. And it's inspiring. And that's why I love finding, people like you and so many other where you can get these stories out there of Canadians helping other Canadians in their time of need. And then it just goes to the next generation where then they start helping the new ones that suffered. And, it's building a great community that, it's not surprising when Canadians get something in their hearts, they start doing it pretty wholeheartedly once they know of a cause or something. And I can't wait just to keep help supporting you and get the word out there and get more dogs to these people and get them the help that they need. So how did that then get into partnering with Operation Talk to Me, Johnny?
They came to the event last summer. I was able to meet them. And I don't know if you've met Lisa's mom, but all the boys fell in love with her mom. She became like everybody's mom. She's such a nice lady that we wanted to connect with them, help them out with some of their events. If there's anything we can do for them as well. So, of course, we're going to meet them at Brigden Fair on May 30th to be part of that with them. And just hopefully do what we can to help them out as well and get their message out, right?
That's awesome. Actually, I'm interviewing their mom tomorrow. So I'll have Sharon on tomorrow and stuff like that. So I'll get to see what it's all about. I will. Yeah, I'll probably fall in love with her too. And that's the awesome thing with all the people that I've been meeting that have been linking with Operation Talk to Me, Johnny, is they're really awesome people. And after I'm done all the interviews, I'm like, oh, that's another awesome person I know. And just another person that I want to work with and help others. So it's just, this has been the best practicum choice I think I could have done for school to end off. Because it's just been, I don't think if I went to like a Vancouver production company or something like that, I'd be as happy and fulfilled as I am doing this stuff. And for school, right? And one of I've used Lisa for a few of my school projects and stuff like that for interviews or a marketing one. And yeah, as soon as I interviewed her with the podcast, it was like, oh, I just have to keep doing stuff and just keep helping this because I just loved what the message was about. And from hurt to hope and to resilience for others.
Absolutely.
So, what are some of your future goals that you have for the next few years coming up?
I actually still have the same goal I had from day one. That's 100 dogs. So that's my goal, is eventually get 100 dogs for 100 veterans. I know it's a lofty goal, probably at my age now, in my 50s and all, but yeah, that's the goal, is to do 100 dogs. We're going to go again this right at the end of the summer. I'm now pairing up with some of the legions. They want to work with me. I've got town businesses that want to get involved. So I'm getting excited. Yeah, I'd only plan on doing maybe one event a year and doing the one dog thing, because it's actually it can be actually quite a bit of work, even though it's only one day. So yeah, no, I've got some other opportunities coming up. I think we're going to be able to do a few more dogs this year and help out even more veterans, and looking forward to it.
That's awesome. And yeah, doing some of the marketing classes and doing some of the big projects and stuff. And it is just a 1-day event or something that seemed simple when we talked about it. But then when you get into the logistics of what it takes to do that one event and all the contingency plans in case this doesn't happen and stuff like that. Yeah, it could be a lot. Now, what are some things that people can do to help you? And like, what is it that, like, to find a dog? Like, what are you looking for in the pups to actually help these service members?
So I use a company that's been in business, Baden Canine. They've been in business for over 50 years. They have the dog fully trained, ready to go by the time they bring him to the veteran. So it's not like it's a puppy and you got to go and get training. I mean, you do, as the veteran, have to go learn commands and go train a little bit with that dog, but you're getting a fully trained service dog. Now that is costly. We're looking at some other ways to bring some costs down, to maybe do a puppy pairing where you'll train as well. Something else we're looking into.
I mean, that just sounds really awesome. Like the fact that they're getting it right off the bat. Like I wasn't thinking that. I was thinking like, okay, they get the dog and maybe then the veteran starts work with the puppy. But for them to get it instantly, I mean,
Yes,
that's amazing because it saves a lot of time for the veteran to be like, okay, this dog's good to go. Okay, I do a week of training with this dog just to familiarize. I learn commands. Like, that's awesome. Like, that is a very quick turnaround.
Yeah, so luckily enough, the way it's worked out every year is they've actually brought the dog to the event, and you see the veteran. They don't wait for me to raise the money. They come at the event and present the dog at the event. So yeah, every year when you think you're on the hook for 20K, you're a little nervous.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, again, once word starts spreading, and we'll do other interviews together, and I'll help you get some of this messaging spread. Again, once Canadians start hearing about this stuff, and let's face it, everyone has a big heart for dogs, and German Shepherds they're one of the breeds that just kind of capture a lot of people's hearts and stuff with the loyalty and everything that's come from the breed over the years that we've just come to know it as. Yeah, I just see this getting bigger and bigger. So yeah, this is awesome. Yeah, I love supporting people and I just can't wait to help you and just make sure we can get more dogs and stuff to more people that need them.
And if you want as well, brother, I could always get you a veteran who's received a dog for a podcast, for a show as well, if you'd like.
Absolutely. I would love to have as many people as you can get me to get the word out and their life before and now with the dog. That would, yes, please.
Like it's so funny how things go. There was a guy he's a not-for-profit that repairs veterans' homes for free. So this guy was fundraising in London. Somebody had told him about me. So he reached out to me. And I've already got him fundraising for a female veteran's house that needs repairs. And we're going to get that looked after too. And that's just talking to other people, right?
And that's the thing, right? Once you start talking and people love helping other people. They just sometimes need to know the cause that is to their heart, right? And once more people start networking, you start hearing, oh yeah, and so-and-so's doing this. Oh, are they? Give me their information or give them my information. I want to start getting into that. And that's, again, the important thing about being in person and having those kinds of natural conversations that just shoot up because a couple of people in a group or two people are just trying to occupy time. And, oh, hey, did you hear about this? No, I didn't. Oh, wow, really? That changes everything, where that then makes a new connection and that starts helping people. So
that's what I tell young people who are, they're organizing as well and doing this. I said, talk to everybody. And this is the example I use. I'm with another veteran. We stop at a stoplight. A really cool pickup truck, painted military colors, pulls up beside us. I roll down the window, ask if he's a vet. He says, no, but my son is serving now. We're like, oh, wow, tell him thanks for his service. We're veterans. All of a sudden, he hands out some Least We Forget car decals. We leave the light. He comes up to the next light, stops again, jumps out, hands me a roll of posters. He says, have these. Turns out the guy's on the TV show, Heavy Rescue 401, and his name's Papa Bear, and it was a stack of autographed posters just from talking to him at a stoplight, right?
And that's sometimes the simple things, right? Like it's a skill that's been a little bit lost, but I think the newer generations are going to find it. I mean, you're starting to see now some that they're taking up knitting and crocheting just because they don't want to have something in their phone in their hands, and it gives them something to occupy, and they're creating something cool. Like I had a couple of kids in class when we were having certain lectures and just listening and watching the PowerPoints. A few of them there were just crocheting, watching, and I mean, it's amazing. I mean, eventually we start doing it, but like that, just they're paying attention to class and they're making these awesome things and doing these crazy stitching or crocheting. I don't know some of the different things with what they were doing, but it was really awesome. And it's also awesome to see that the generation is seeing something and they're trying to find a solution without being told, hey, don't do that.
I always tell people I have a tippy tap limit. So I have a 5 to 6 message limit, and then I'm done. Just call me. Call me. I'm done typing messages. Call me. Or I'll have a friend who will leave a voice message, and I got to tell him, bro, I can read faster than you can speak. Please type it out.
Yeah. Well, I remember like when nobody texted because it cost so much. And then there was that switch of now nobody was calling and it was just all texting.
Right.
And that was kind of the big thing of, whatever year that was, but that was kind of the start of the whole thing of, I think, that disconnecting from society and,
how many fights get started? Because you can't understand tone, intent, anything in a text, right? Can't hear their voice, see their face. So it could be nothing. You lose your mind thinking they're starting trouble. It's not. Everybody's mad.
Well, and exactly, right? And if you're having a bad day, you're going to see a vague message that can be interpreted in a multitude of ways where you're just like, like, hey, fucker, what's up? And it's just the day that you're like, what do you mean, what's up? Huh? Like, right? And it was just them being like playful. Like, what do you mean? I was just going to ask you if you wanted to play ball. Like, what's going on? But just because, again, you're just reading it and you're putting your emotions into how you're reading it. And you could take something that is meant to be nothing. And all of a sudden, again, it's a huge fight where the other person on the other end's like, what's going on? Like, we always call each other fucker. Like, right. Okay. So, yeah, but again, hopefully change will happen. People see stuff and we'll change and we'll find the next problem. All of a sudden, people have, some problem from crocheting too much. And now advocates are starting to say, hey, these kids got to put down the needles. What? They're doing drugs? No, they're crocheting.
Yeah, it'll always be something, right?
Yeah, but as long as it's constructive, then, let's let them go with it.
Right.
So what are some ways that people can contact you to help support you?
We don't have our website finished yet. However, if you want to, you can just reach out to me at the moment if anybody would like to help out. And then I have all the information they would need for any type of donating, anything like that. My wife kind of handles all that. I'm sort of just a pretty face.
Not a problem. Do you have an email or something that they can get a hold of you at?
I absolutely do. Yep. 1 second. Oh, just want me to tell it to you?
Yeah, just tell it to me.
Okay. So it's a small case, of course, RCLALANDE@live.ca.
Perfect. Awesome.
And that's my email for Battle Buddies. So
perfect. Awesome. Rob, thank you so much for doing this interview and supporting Operation Talk to Me, Johnny.
thank you so much for having me, and looking forward to meeting everybody on the 30th at the Brigden Fair in Brigden, Ontario, or Talk to Me, Johnny. Thank you again, brother.
Not a problem. And for everyone else, please, if you need any help, get it. We need you. So, just get back up.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.